it's because I was
put
on
our
another show.
hi.
Host. I think
Welcome,
they
welcome,
typed
every
it
oh,
in.
how you doing, everyone? Welcome, welcome to the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. I like to introduce myself. My name is Miss J. I'm going to be one of your hosts who are going to be here with you every Sunday. I'm the founder and CEO of Boss Women Society, where I help women to strengthen who they are to be better at what they do, and that's building their empires. Over to you.
Awesome. My name is Faith Greaves. I am community advocate, always busy within the community, making sure that our people are okay. So it's wonderful to co-host here with Miss J.
Yes,
Yes, and
girl.
we're
As,
yes. Go ahead.
as we know,
We're
community
so excited.
conversations. Yeah, I know. I
Yes,
tell you, this is our first one. Super excited to get started. But first, let's give you the reason why we're on this show. So, what is community
absolutely.
conversations about?
Conversation in our
That's right.
community.
All the time.
Absolutely.
We're going to be
Yes.
talking about topics that are local and global, things that are impacting your community. So, guess what? This is your show. We're just here
Yes.
to make sure that we're curating all the knowledge and information that you want to share with the rest of the world. We stream in country after country. So, you get to know not only what's happening here, but what's happening across the globe. And so make sure you stay interactive with us. We take questions. You want to send us letters, situations, anything you want to discuss, we are here. What are we going to talk about?
What's hot, what's not. But tonight we're focusing on first our kids, children
Yes,
going back to school, because that was a very hot area and a
I
very
can't
busy
wait.
summer. Yes.
I can't
So
wait to
let's,
get into this school year. Both of mine are back to school. One's in
mhm,
university, starting university, one's back in high school. Let
yes.
me tell you, I enjoy the quiet. I cannot lie.
I know it's amazing. I can't say that. I have grandkids, and my youngest granddaughter, she finished university. So right now, it's about what's happening out there with other families, friends, colleagues, in reference to what the hustle and the bustle is, getting those kids back to school, getting ready for September. And we
Yes,
are, what is it?
sure.
This is the second week or third week back in school for them.
Yeah,
And
this is third week already. It feels like
yes,
it just started when we were just getting them prepped. Do
absolutely.
you have paper? Do you have binders? Do you have clothes? Do you have this? Do you have that? And
Exactly.
now we're almost in October, one straight month.
Absolutely.
Well,
So it
that's
was
why we're here
busy.
today. That's right. We're
Yes.
talking about a few things today we're going to be covering on our
Mhm.
show are ways to make sure your children are prepared and ready for the school year. We're going to talk
Yes.
about 4 or 5 points of success that you can give
Mhm.
your child. And then we're going to wrap it up with some pieces around some great announcements. I can't wait for y'all to
Yes.
hear what I know. Yes, honey, the tea is real,
Oh
honey.
my
The tea
gosh.
is
So we're gonna
real.
sip some of that.
Yes, sip on
A
this
sip
hot
on some of that
tea.
tea, of course. And
And then, of
also
course,
what's
we're always
go
going to
ahead,
talk about
sweetie.
what's new in education. We
Yes,
have some really
yes,
good things
yes,
that
yes,
coming
yes.
down the pipe
We are
that we're going to
excited.
share.
Yes, our community is important to us. All the time, we want to make sure that you, the listeners, are happy with what we're delivering, the content, what's going on. What do we need to do as a community to pull our socks up, pull our bootstrap up, and just be busy within the
That's it,
community, making sure that, hey, everybody is okay. Everyone should
100%.
be okay. Yes. So, yes.
100%. And
All
there's going to be
right.
some controversial topics because Faith and I, we
Yeah.
have very strong opinions. And it's based on our experiences, sometimes
Yes.
based on our knowledge, whatever it is, we're going to bring it here because this is what conversations are about, right? Change happens through
Absolutely.
communication and it
Yes.
happens through conversations. And so as we
Absolutely.
go through this itinerary in our segment today, please feel free to send in your comments. Our producer is on the other side and he's going to make sure that we're hearing and seeing everything that you want answered. All right, so let's jump right in
Absolutely.
then. Let's get going. Let's first
Yes.
start with
Yes.
school. So today was the school topic. First, let's just go to our memory about school. So for me, my memory of school was always the clothes. What and oh no, I lie. It was the notebooks for me. Like when I used to get
Hmm.
my little colored pen or pencil crayons, and then I would have my little ruler and my protractor set. Yeah,
Oh
I
my
guess that's
gosh,
the nerd
protractor.
side
What
of me.
is that? What?
Right? You know, remember the
Right. Yeah.
protractor set? You can't talk to me
Yes.
about the protractor set. You didn't have a
Oh
nice
my God.
clean half, the half one. Oh man, yeah,
Yes.
that was it for me. The school supplies, that was it for me. What about you?
Yes. Oh my goodness. It's getting ready for school, getting the new clothing to go back to school. We're going shopping. So that was always important, getting a new look. So it was
That's
the
it.
clothes, going shopping to start the new curriculum, the new year, and the last day going to the exhibition.
Ah,
We
that's
can't
right.
we
Just
can't forget
before
that,
you
right?
had to go to the
Yes,
CNE.
yes.
Yes.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
goodness. I remember those
Those,
times. You had to take a
yes,
minute. The food was different. It was almost like you had to do the Canada's Wonderland run. So if you were a
yes.
Canada's Wonderland, I was more a Wonderland person more than the CNE,
Mhm.
but the
Yes,
CNE was the tradition. Like you just had
yes.
to do it. You couldn't just not do it,
Tradition.
right? For those who are not in our country, the CNE is called the Canadian National Exhibition, and it is held. It's almost like a fair that's held, and they come and they put up rides and a lot of cultural different pieces of food and shows and experiences. So it's really cool, and it's been around for well over. I mean, I'm still 25 for life, so it's been around for as long as as long as I've been alive. It's been
Oh
around.
my gosh. Yeah, it's been around because
It's been
I
around.
mean, yeah, started at 11 and look at where we are today.
Look at
Not
where we
only
are.
that, that particular activity event, amusement park, it's actually in every province. It's every province you
Mhm.
go to.
Oh, for
It's
real? I
happening.
didn't know that. Oh,
Absolutely.
wow.
It moves around and it has different names, right? Because when I was in
Okay.
Calgary, we have this Calgary Stampede. So now it's the cowboy piece with the horse, the
Ooh.
cows, and so forth. And totally beautiful activity, and it lasts for a 2 week stretch or so. So yeah,
So they
I mean,
basically travel from
they
city to
traveled
city or
every,
province to
yeah,
province.
it's
Okay,
because it
cool.
has its own title in each area. It's something that I guess we have to have it. We got to have amusement for the kids.
Oh, yeah,
And
you
not
do.
everyone is as fortunate to have Wonderland, right?
Yes, I know.
Wonderland, right?
Wonderland.
Because yeah, so I mean, it was beautiful in my school era, going back to school, getting prepared for school, seeing who my teachers are was also important. Getting connected with your friends,
Yeah, that's true. Well, we spent
your
the whole summer
classmates.
together, so
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
it was about everyone had to have their first day outfit. Tell
Mm-hmm.
us what your back to school tradition was. What was the one things you
Yes.
used to do? What do you do for your kids? Show us some comments. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be our experience. It's all about yours. What did you do in your country, city, town, province, region,
Yes.
urban, rural, you name it? What
Yes.
is it that you used to do? Maybe we'll come out there and host the show straight from there. We'll have a
Hey,
live. We
you
are on
never
site.
know.
Yes, this
All
is me
right.
plugging for Love Bay to send us all over the world.
Why? Why? Because you are
What?
listening to Love Bay Afrobeat.
That's it.
Yes.
Music Talk Radio right
Radio
here.
right
Every
here,
Sunday at what time?
5 p.m.
5 p.m. So set your
EST.
clock,
Let's
turn
put
it
it in
on.
EST.
That's
EST.
it. That's
Yes.
it.
We don't want
EST.
you to
That's right.
miss. We don't want you to
That's
miss. We
right.
don't want you to miss out because we have
Just
some
so much.
really great topics.
So much.
This
So
is a
much.
start of us just making it happen. So I'm
Getting
looking
it
forward
done.
to it. Yes, getting it done. Tonight we're just
Getting,
making it really mellow
yeah.
because we want
Today
you
we
to
won't
just,
start off. We're just
yes.
gonna launch you and traject you into the year. You know,
Hmm.
we're gonna stay
Yes.
current on topics that are happening. What's happening on, like I said, in your local municipalities, what's happening at provincial levels, what's happening, just what's happening. There's so much out there that we want to introduce you to. Lots of great guests that we're lining up for this show because listen, yes, I know you want to hear me and Faith for the whole time, but man, no, we're gonna bring on some real amazing individuals who are
Yes.
definitely doing something with everything that they got.
Exactly.
That's the way they do it.
Exactly. And
All
it's
right,
important. Yeah, it's important to keep you informed, but we want to hear from you, right? We want to hear from you
100%.
as well. All
Much
right.
from
So,
you as possible. Okay.
yes,
So you
yes,
ready
yes,
to
yes,
jump in, girl? Let's jump in. Let's
yes.
talk
Jump
about
in.
school. So
Yes.
your kids are in school. We're back. Everyone's excited. For parents, the best part of
Mhm.
this is that you get back 9 to 3:30 or 8 to 3:30 or whatever your time is, 8 to 2, whatever the time is. Now, if you still have little ones and they're going even the below 3, you can still prepare them for the incoming year. So we did a little bit of research because we wanted to see what were some of the best things that you want your child to do to set them up for
Yes.
success. Now, why are we having this conversation? And it's because, I mean, I've gone through many, many years, just as Faith has, in terms of sending our
Mm.
children to school. We've been to school. And the school system has changed so much over the
Yes.
years. And we're not just talking academics, but we're also talking about the social component of it
Yes.
and the physical component of it. And a lot of our kids are really suffering from sometimes being overworked. They're
Yes.
tired. They don't want to go to school. They don't want to resettle back in. They want to stay
Hmm.
up all late all night and play all day. And so, what are some ways that we can help them to launch the year
Yes.
on a really good foot, right?
Positive.
So, the first thing I
Hmm.
want to talk about a little bit is about anxiety and stress, and that's something that's hitting a lot of youth. We know that we're in the era of mental health, and we're a lot of resources are being put together to help these young adults and
Hmm.
also children to deal with the ways that they're handling anxiety. And sometimes going
Hmm.
into a new grade is massive. Like, right? If you're leaving grade
Absolutely.
5 or grade 6, or you're leaving grade 8 now, going into high school, big stress bubble. That's a big, you
Hmm.
remember
Yeah.
going into high school, your first year?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I remembered. It wasn't easy at all because I mean you are what did we call new kids going to school now? The what's the term
Oh,
we use? You remember
I thought,
that term they call us? The new what do they
oh, you
call us?
mean
Oh my
like
God.
going into grade 9?
Grade
Niners.
nine.
I remember. Okay,
Niners.
you brought
Niners.
the, yes, you're a
The
Niner.
Niners. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. We got it,
You're a
didn't we? The
Niner.
Niners. Yes.
Yes,
And
and you are
also you get
definitely
teased.
you were
Yes.
becoming like you left grade 8 at the top of your
Hmm.
game, so you were the
Yes.
ones to watch for. You were the ones people wanted to be with. You
Hmm.
were the cool kid. Now you're going into school and you're at the bottom of the totem pole, and so
Exactly.
that causes some anxiety for
Hmm.
many children. And I'm
Yes.
going to say children going into school, when they have
Yes.
their mom's hand and or their dad's hand, and now it's time to walk into this class at 4 years old and assume this role of circle time and
Yes.
alphabets, and they clutch their little lunchbox and their backpacks.
Yes.
I mean, they're so adorable, but that's a lot of
Separation.
anxiety right there too, right?
Yes.
A lot of
Yes. Yes.
anxiety. So how can we help our children to adapt to
Hmm.
some of this, right? And it's also take into account the work levels change, right?
Hmm.
They're
Yes.
not no longer, for kids who've never had it are now getting, practice your ABCs and practice spelling the word
Hmm.
cat. And then you have the older ones who are leaving a one classroom setting and walking into four different classrooms
Yes.
with four different teachers. So some of
Right.
the things as parents that we forget, and then those who are leaving high school and going into university and college, right? If you can see, September is Suicide Awareness Month, and it's important that
Yes.
we take real care in preparing our children who are transitioning in some of the major areas and giving them the
Yes.
tools that they need to succeed. So, what is something
Absolutely.
that we can talk about? What is a solution, Faith, that you can think about in terms of um, resolving some of that stress and anxiety?
So we got to have those conversations, as you said. We got to find out how they're feeling. We got to connect with them. Connect also with their teachers. Introduce yourself to their teachers because sometimes we send them off, and there is no connection. There's
Yeah,
no connection as to who's your teacher, what's going on. Let the teacher know that, listen, I'm here. Whenever you need me for my child, I am here.
love
Let's
that.
ensure that we develop, build relationship with these educators because they're there to educate our children. They're not there to babysit our children. They're there to perform a responsibility, a duty to educate them.
Hmm.
They
Yeah,
cannot do it by themselves. So we have to ensure that we're actively involved. Speak
yes.
to your child every day. What challenges are they facing? How was school? How was your friend? How was lunch? How was
Hmm.
recess? Whatever it is, any issue that you need to talk to them about, things that you hear other parents are probably talking about, ask your child. How are they
Yes.
doing? Get to know
Yeah.
also their friends. Get
Hmm.
to
Who they
know
rolling
their
with?
friends. Exactly.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
exactly. Today we realize mental health is such a huge topic, a
Yes.
huge area. It's not like when you and I were going to school. We just had to do what we had to do and hopefully everything is okay, right?
Yeah.
And if it's
Yeah.
not okay, we didn't identify it. Sometimes it's labeled incorrectly. The child is giving us have behavioral issues. Why?
Hmm.
So today there is more information, and parents, we have more responsibilities today.
Yes,
Like
we do.
seriously, you got
Yes.
your work life balance and you got your child over here in school. that need your support. You're probably having issues at your workplace. Who knows? And then you've got your other family matters, your friends, and so forth. But you got to remember these little babies, they need you as well. So we have to, even if they're older, they're still our babies, right? And I call them babies.
100%.
Exactly.
100%.
So just check in. Check
Yeah.
in. I can recall my granddaughter said to me while she was in university, thanks, Grandma, for always checking in to making sure I was okay because I was going through my own mental stress. And I thought, wow,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
wow, because she didn't come out and say, Grandma, I'm going through this. But it
Yeah.
was just talking to her and
Yeah.
seeing how she's doing. And I mean, during that period too, COVID kicked in. So most of our university and college students who were going in their first year had to focus on being on the computer. It's a virtual experience for them, something that I'm sure it wasn't a pleasant one. So
Yeah.
we had to make sure. So she would come home, Grandma, she'd come home from the next room and say, Grandma, this is homework. I need help. So I'm there to encourage, and that's what we have to do. We have to encourage them. Grandma, I have
Yeah.
this problem to tackle. Can you
Yeah.
help?
Yeah.
Make yourself available.
And
Make
that's
yourself
exactly that.
available.
And yeah. And if
Yeah.
you look at the skill sets, some of the things that you want to help your, especially if they're going fresh into school,
Mm-hmm.
I recommend that you gradually expose them to the settings, right? So even before they're going to school, take them to the grounds and
Mm-hmm.
show them this is where the park is and this is where you're going to be eating and this is where you're going to go in. And
Yes.
then for youth, you want to help them to set realistic goals, right? Now they're
Absolutely.
taking on more homework loads, they're taking on 4 courses, and versus, I
Mm.
mean, yes, they're still doing different topics in
Yes.
grade 8 below, but in high school it's a little bit of a different piece because now you're managing
Mm-hmm.
relationships, different
Yes.
relationships with different teachers. Your classroom won't be the same set of kids all the
Mm-hmm.
time. Now you're crisscrossing. So it's important that we help them to promote a balanced routine
Of
that
course.
includes some relaxation, right? Because some
Yes.
kids they want to get those 80s, they want to get those 90s, but if we don't
Mm-hmm.
help them to just balance out a little bit, to relax and to take on
Yes.
maybe a hobby or something that would help to be an outlet, that would be
Yes.
amazing. And as you said,
Absolutely.
the importance of seeking out help when they're
Mm-hmm.
becoming
Yes.
overwhelmed, right? Whether it's from their
Exactly.
teachers, their counselors, or even their peers. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times you might say, we get into this strict mode of, okay, it's school, home, chores, back to school. But it's important that they have that social time, that downtime. Okay,
Yes.
love it, love it, love it.
Absolutely. This is great. It is important because that year in school, oh my gosh, they have to go through so much.
They
So
do.
from previous experience, you want to make sure that you are going to set them up for success. And success comes in so many different ways. Success comes
Yes,
to them in so many different ways to what we are doing as
yes,
parents, how we're
100.
interacting, even teaching them how to manage their time. Because,
Yep.
time today, it just goes. I mean, look at where we are today. We're September, and I'm worried. 3 more months. The year is
Hmm.
over. My gosh.
Hmm.
So, yes, we got to
Exactly.
set them up for success. That's our responsibility, setting them up for success and also teaching them the purpose and the reason to having time management uh, mindset because you got to get to school on time. You got to get to work on time. Whatever you do, that when you're not managing your time, it's going to impact you.
Yes.
I worked
100%.
with a few youths, for example, over the weekend. We were doing a blitz for an organization, and we agreed that they would start at 10 o'clock. There were ones that I couldn't find, didn't know where they
Hmm.
were. So when I finally got through to them, it was like, you did not commit to the time that you start. So what happens? You set us back. So we got
Yes.
to be mindful of time and how
Yeah.
important it is because others are looking at you. If you're not there on time, if you're not there when you say you're going to be there, it's going to create problem not just for you, but the person who you probably should be interacting with. So we have to be
100%.
mindful of everything that is around us, and our time is important. Your time is important.
100%. I'm going to be bringing
Mm-hmm.
on, we're going to actually be bringing on a learning and wellness strategist in future shows to
Mm-hmm.
help I'm shouting out Miss Joanne Domenico of Study with Joanne. She is amazing, and she's going to be bringing us some tips and tricks to help your children, especially when it gets towards the term of exams,
Yes.
testing, and all those times where the kids are really feeling overwhelmed with the work. So
Mhm.
look out for that. That segment will be coming in a future segment, because we're not just gonna hit a topic and drop it. We're gonna
Yes.
follow some of these topics throughout the year because it impacts our communities. A
Yes.
lot of kids are failing out of school. A lot of
Yes.
kids are having a hard time staying the course. When I talk to
Mhm.
my women, I'm a business strategist, and one of the things I talk to my women about all the time are skill sets. You need to have skill sets. And if you teach your children skill sets very early in the game, it really helps them to manage as they navigate through the different years in school. Which takes to the next
Or
topic for young kids about separation anxiety. Let's talk a little bit
yes.
about that, right? There's those
Yes.
kids who've seen mom and dad the whole 3, 4 years of their life, and all of a
Yes.
sudden
Yes.
I mean, granted, they're the ones who go to daycare, so they're a little bit more seasoned in the
Yes.
transition. But what about those babies who just this is just a whole brand spanking new world for them? They
Mhm.
don't know, like, the
It's a
routines
lot.
off, the whole nine. What
Yes.
do you think are some ways we can help parents to help their child to move into their first steps of
Oh my.
education?
Oh my goodness. That's a tough one too, because every child is so uniquely different. And so
Yes,
you really have to build that rapport with the child because it's
100%.
never easy. My first day to school, I am what, kindergarten? And you're leaving me, mom? Are you out of your mind with these
I was
people, with this
gone. I was
baby?
like, deuce,
It's
let's
like, no
go.
way. And so there's going to be that attachment, right? It's going to be like, how we're going to do this. So
Yeah.
I think one of the things that parents can do, especially that first day, too, is to just spend some time in the classroom, as long as you're allowed, so the child
Mhm.
can be familiarized with his environment as well,
Yeah,
and
I
have
feel
that
very
conversation with him that this person is going to be here with you when mommy isn't here, and they're going to be teaching you, so that
yeah,
they're going to get comfortable, and it's going to be an easy transition for the child. Teaching
100%.
them how to say, goodbye, love you, because it's
Yeah,
only for a moment. And
yeah,
always again, so if we start from a young age inquiring, how was your day, baby? How was the teacher? What did you learn today? And
mhm.
so you got to create that environment for
That
them.
positive environment, right?
Positive, exactly.
Positive
They need it.
environment. Like, this is going to be
Yes.
a fun
Mm-hmm.
situation. That goes the same
Yes,
with youth, right? The
exactly.
youth they have a different type of social anxiety or separation, and for them it's about that
Absolutely.
fitting in. But again, we should also help them to get into some extracurricular activities. There's a lot of
Yes.
kids who are not, and believe it or not, getting into university and college and those applications, they ask for those extracurriculars. That's
Yes.
why they talk about that 40 hours in the school year,
Yes.
right? That is
Yes.
designed to help them to show that there's some external experience that they've developed
Mm-hmm.
in
Some
skills,
social
knowledge, or
skills.
capacity,
Exactly.
right? So
Exactly.
like check in. Like, if your kid comes home every
Mm-hmm.
day and they're just saying, "Well, what did you do in school today?" Yeah, or they just jump on and they have the phone going. Try to help them, because at the end of the
Absolutely.
day, when they
The,
get to graduation year, you don't want to be
yes,
struggling to get to the next level.
that's
So
it.
any
So
kind, and even if it's external, I know, I mean, I taught basketball for a long time, and that was one of the things that many youth gravitated to was basketball.
hmm
Whether it was at the
yes,
community centers or playing at the rep level, it was a great outlet for them, and it gave them the discipline, right? So
absolutely.
whether it's a chess club, or you're want to be part of the
Yes.
yearbook committee, or you're going to be part of some kind of
hmm
altruistic, philanthropic, save the trees, I don't know,
Yes. They
something.
need to, we need to actually to at a young age start teaching them what it means to volunteer, giving back,
Yes, 100%,
because
because
it
they need those.
really helps. Yes, they need to develop their social skills. Not only that, to be more aware as to how this beautiful country, like we're right here, how it's built on the
Definitely.
backs of volunteerism and what it means. And
Yes.
so that will help them too when it comes to getting those extra 40 hours. You talk about those 40 hours community
About them.
services. Yes. And getting
Yes,
them
and
involved, getting them
there's so
involved.
much
Because,
communities out, community
yes,
groups,
so
nonprofit
many.
organizations, or
Yes,
internships that are out there, and it gives a
absolutely.
child and or more, I'm going to say a youth, a sense of direction because they get
Mm-hmm.
to try out different things.
Absolutely.
Parents, it's very easy for us to get caught up in the mantra of work home.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure they get to school, they have
Yes.
something in their lunchbox, or they're given some money to take the bus, and then we've done our job. But it's important that we really take a
No.
moment and say to ourselves, how are we putting in that time to show interest in what they're learning? Not just from school, but from there. If you hear what, I was
Yes.
talking to my son the other day when he came and he said, Ma, law was really, he goes, yeah, it's kind of fun. And I would have
Mm-hmm.
never pegged him to be interested in law, but
Yes.
talking
That's
about it. And I
it.
said to myself,
Yes.
amazing. I
That
mean,
is
a
great.
week later, he started reading up
Mm-hmm.
about the court system, and then I don't know. He said
Wow.
boring now, so I don't know
That
how long the interest lasts, but exposure is
is
everything.
critical. It is so important.
Yeah,
We can't forget where we're at. We are watching this program, Community
yeah.
Conversation. Where are we
Uh,
watching it from?
girl,
Afro
be,
Love Bay.
be
Come
talk.
on, let's do it. Love
We'll
Bay
do together. All right,
Afro
we are watching here
Bay.
on Love Bay
Bay.
Afrobeat
Afro Beat
Music Talk Radio.
Radio.
Say it with me.
Woo!
Say it with me.
Yes,
If
5
you know what you're
p.m.
listening to, put it up in the comments. Let us know that you're listening.
Yes,
Let us
yes,
know what you need to hear in regards to how we can
yes,
help give you some great ideas on how to get your child to successful school. We have
yes.
a couple of more, but again, make sure you're tuning here every Sunday.
Sunday.
Today, we're really giving out the topic of school,
Mhm.
but we're going to have so much different segments on here. So if you have any questions, you have any comments, what are the things you're doing to help your child? What maybe you can share some of your best practices.
Yes,
We can
we
share
want to
with
hear
the
it.
rest
We
of the
want to hear
world.
it.
I love saying that.
We
The
want to hear
rest of
it.
the world,
The
the
world.
world, the globe.
My gosh, yes.
Just
Isn't it
want to say
amazing? We
thanks to
have
Love Babe. They've been working
there.
so hard to make sure that every country is listening and they're getting
Yes,
access to this amazing. And I'm just so happy and honored to be part of the movement of
yes,
Love Bay's Afrobeat Music Talk Radio because communication is important. And the more we
yes.
can share, the more we can learn and grow. Love
Absolutely.
that. So join the conversation. All right.
Yes. Okay.
Let's jump into another thing that we're seeing out there. So we're seeing lack of motivation and engagement. Now
Yes.
that's a tough one. Kids are not wanting to be in school. They're not wanting to participate.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of youth and those who do super excited about that because they are our next generation. We say
Mm-hmm.
can't change the youth for our future, but we can change the we can't change the future for our youth, but we can change the youth for our future. So
I
if
love
you is
that.
your
Yes.
child lacking motivation or wanting to engage in
Mm-hmm.
anything, are you having that problem? Let us know. What do you think are some ways that we can help? What are things that we can tips and tricks and techniques that we can share with our audience today?
Well, one of the things we need to do is to understand what's in the mind of our children, what interests them, because you have to balance it out with education and
Hmm.
activity.
Yeah.
Education and activity. So, what are their passion? What is it that you like to do other than school? Because you'll find kids today. What do you like to do? I don't know. I don't. I
Right.
don't know. What is? I don't know. Come on now. What
Yep.
is it that you like? Tell me what it is that you really like, or what is it that you really want to do. So
Yes.
from
Yes.
there, you'll know. Well, I want to be a basketball player. Don't dumb them down. Don't make them feel small. I'm not sending you to school for basketball. No, education and get
That's a
them
very good point.
involved.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
education and
Parents,
get
don't be
them.
the wet blanket.
No,
Don't be the
no,
wet blanket. A lot of times, there's this old culture of you go to school to learn and read your books, and not
that's
everyone's going to come out a doctor or a lawyer,
no.
right? And let's be
Hear them
real.
out.
Some of the ones who are bouncing a ball right now are making 95 million for a 5-year
Right,
contract.
exactly.
So like
And
yeah, we've got to be
it's
careful not
terrible.
to
Very careful.
dim the
That
interest. Yeah.
Not only that, what we fail to acknowledge when we do that to our children, we kind of put them in a scenario where they become quiet. And
Yes.
that quiet impacts their ability to grow. That
Mhm.
quietness impact their ability to learn because you, their first point of contact, your parents, their motivator, their role model, have just
Yes.
shut them down. So don't shut them down. Hear what they have to say. Help them to achieve these little goals because one of the things, and we should learn over the years, we were telling them what it is that we're going to let them do or what we want them to do,
But
what
yes.
we want them to do. So they did not have an open mind to say, Mom, this is what I like, or Dad, this is what I like, or even to select their curriculum for the
Hmm.
year. Because I remember going to school, my dad was the one who wanted to select my programs and all of my programs. Like, oh my
Mm.
God. But at that point, you're tight lipped.
Right.
Today, let's have an open mind to find
Open
out from our
dialogue.
children. Yes, what is it
Open dialogue.
that you like, and make sure that it's going to be successful for your child. Because
Yes.
sometimes, yes, you have to show them the negative and the positive. What's impactful, what's going to help you. So listen, hear them out, motivate them, take them to
Yes.
places they've never been to, give them that experience. Don't be what is
There's
it?
the key word right there. That word
What?
experience is so
Mm-hmm.
massive and so underrated, right?
Yes.
And experience doesn't always have to be expensive. A lot of times it's
No.
connected to, well, I don't have the money. And so
Yes.
we can't do that. But there's so
No.
many things, I'm sure, even in your countries right now, if we were to ask you, and I'm saying post it, send that information. What are
Mm-hmm.
things that you can experience that don't cost money, right? It could be visiting up, it's something like where you don't even think about it because you're so wrapped up in what you love doing, right? So,
Yes.
like my younger son, he loves being outside. When he was younger, he loved going for walks because he loved collecting sticks and rocks. There was just something about
Mm,
outside, right?
yes.
I had a
Nature.
hot 10 minutes of it before I was like, all right, let's go back inside. But when I didn't even realize it until he used to come home every time with rocks, and then he started bringing little
Mhm.
flowers and stuff. And I didn't, beyond me, I wasn't the outside person. I'm more of a concrete jungle person, but my husband's very much an outside person. Like he loves
Yes.
nature. And the two, that just taking him for a walk, it was just the most
Mhm.
interesting thing for him. The
Right.
bugs and all the other stuff that I
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily be interested in. But
It's amazing.
putting
It's
aside my interest and really,
yes.
like you said, giving
Focusing
him
on
an
him.
experience, it
Yes.
changed. Yeah, it really
Of
did
course.
change.
It
Yeah,
does. And I think what we fail to do is to also get to their levels.
yeah,
When it comes to communicating with them, sometimes we don't get to their level, and it's like it creates that barrier of communication, and the dialogue breaks down because I'm
yes.
saying this, but my mom is not listening or my dad is not listening. They're not hearing me. And they'll go and complain to their friends, and then their friends are going to give them ideas. What have we not? Next
Yeah.
things, ooh. So parents, let's motivate our children.
Yes,
Let's
a hundred
create that
percent,
environment for
100%.
them because it's their time. They need to be successful. They need to know that they are loved, appreciated, and we are listening to them. Right.
Yes,
So
and
that
helping
is
them to
yes,
naturally accept the next level of their or the
yes,
next chapter, right? Because they're still writing their book,
mhm,
and
exactly.
we don't want our past experiences to
No,
hinder them because they're not us,
absolutely. No.
right? They're
I love
not
what
us.
you said. I love what you said. They're writing their chapters, and if
Yeah.
we can remind them or even share that piece with them in regards to, I'm going to share something with you, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this. Do you believe me that you are on a journey? You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna discover so many things, good,
100.
bad, indifferences, things that you're gonna love, things that you're gonna not like, and you say, "Why am I here?" But that's gonna be your journey. I love
That's
that,
it. That, yeah, it's
right?
their
Because
journey. Their
yeah,
journey.
we don't use those words. Yeah,
No, we
we
don't.
don't. We
We
don't.
yell about why there's dishes in the sink. We yell about why the floor is not sweep, and that's
Yeah.
just generationally handed down. I could remember my dad used to say, "Listen, don't let me come in this house and these front stairs are not swept." Hey, you better know. First thing I did when I got home was run for my broom.
Exactly. It better go because I mean that's just how it is. One look. That's how it was with my aunt. Just one look, and you knew what that
That's
meant.
it.
You better hustle. You better
You knew what
move.
time it
You
was.
you have no time to like. Nope,
Yep.
nope.
But I
So
also
yes,
remember my mom taking me and my sisters to gymnastics, right?
yes.
And my dad, like I have to give it to them. They gave us a lot of experiences on the dollars they could
Hmm.
afford with four children in a
Yes.
family of six, and we were living in metro housing at the time. And he
Hmm.
would just saddle us up in the wagon, and we
Yes.
went to Montreal, anywhere he could drive. Philadelphia, we were
Yes.
there, man.
Oh
We took
my
a pack of
goodness.
pilau, and we had our
Yes.
little chips. Our
Yes.
blankets and our pillows, and they gave us, and those were the things growing up that we remember,
Yes.
that we talk about, and
I mean,
that creating of that time
yes.
is
Yes.
definitely what
Yes.
gave us the ability to be a little bit more, I would say, confident when we walked out
Yes.
on our own. We
Absolutely.
knew what we did had, and we knew what we didn't have, and we made the best of
Hmm. Right.
it, right?
And you know what was always pleasant? I'm just seeing your mom and your dad face in front of me right now. The smiles, the warmth, and that emulates through you as well because I see that your dad and your mom with this big.
Yeah, my mom
I
smile.
remember
That's
those
why we
days.
sort of have the Judy smile.
Yes, it was beautiful. And
Yeah,
four,
no,
5, 6 children. Absolutely, yes. And nobody knew because everybody was so happy. Everybody
yes.
was so happy and contented with whatever it is. So even today, we're in a different time. Everything is so progressive,
Yeah,
advanced. But let's not forget about why
yeah.
we have these babies and what we need to do with them for them to be successful. Take
Don't
time
have
out of
to.
our schedule to make sure that they're okay, they're doing well. As Jay said, the small things are what is important, but really
Yes,
having that dialogue with the children is key. Really
yeah,
having that communication with them is key for success. Hmm.
100%. As always, you are joining the conversation of community conversations right here on Love
On
Bay
the
Afro
Afrobeat
Music Talk Radio.
Radio. Woo!
Every Sunday,
Yes.
Faith and I are getting together and we are having conversation on what's hot and what's not. And
Yes.
sometimes what's not, it could be more hot than what's hot. Now, if you
Hey,
could follow that and repeat it after me, we'll have a prize for you. I don't
all
know
right.
what it
One,
is
two,
yet, but
three.
we'll make
One,
something
two,
up.
three.
We'll
What's
make
hot?
something
What's
up.
not? Yes.
100%. So if you are just
Um,
joining us, just a quick recap. We are talking about back to school. We went through a little bit of what are some of the things that your child may be suffering. We did a little bit of research and really checked in on a few key items like separation anxiety. If
mhm.
they're feeling stressed, they're feeling anxious to go in. We talked about social anxiety and peer relationships. So there's so many different things that we're saying. Make sure you press the replay if you want to hear some tips, tricks, and techniques to help your children and youth to be successful.
Mhm.
Um, we want to make sure that you can send everything that you want to send to info at Love Bay Radio. I think it's Love Bay Radio. Make sure we'll ask producers to put it on the screen, the email where you can
Yes.
send information or questions. Or if you're here streaming live, just go into the
Very
chat and let us know who's here. There it is.
at
Infolovebay at gmail.com.
loveday.com.
That number is not mine, so you can still call and talk to them.
Yes.
Encouragement.
Love Day.
Right? We're going to
Yes.
be hitting local and global topics that impact our communities. Why? Because change happens through conversations. And so, as we're going through, we have about 20 more minutes before we start to wrap up. This time went by quick. So
Really?
we're going to move into. So we talked about some of the issues that are happening with children and youth today who are heading back into school. One of the big ones is before we go, we're going to now talk about a few ways to set your child up for success. And the first one we're going to start with is technology and digital distractions. Now, we know that's a big one. Now, in schools, they are encouraging the youth, I could say for the high schools, I know for sure, they're encouraging them to bring tablets and phones and whatnot to aid in their research and development in various topics. And that's really good. But what happens after when IG becomes their best friend and they're on it for hours? So, some of the things that you want to really do is one thing, and I'll pass over to Faith for another tip. But one tip for me is encourage them to set up designated times. I had one youth who I was working with, and he said to me, Miss J, I watch YouTube because, it has this and that and the other. And I said to him, well, YouTube can be quite the time stealer. And he
Yes.
said, no, but Miss J, I only watch it for a few hours a day. And I said, okay, well, go on your phone and check. He said, Miss J, I watch an average between 8 and 14 hours of YouTube a day. 8 to 14 hours of YouTube
Wow.
a day.
Wow.
He was
Wow.
shocked as all shocked.
My
Like he was
God.
like, I never thought
Mhm.
of it. And I said, no, we
Yes,
usually don't, right? And so
exactly.
he was, and so by putting designated times on it,
Right.
he got it down to a science where he was starting to ace all his courses
Yes.
simply because he just didn't have the time. He was so busy watching YouTube.
Yep. It's a major distraction. I can see. I did it last week. I was on social media, Facebook, just trying to catch up. And I spent like 3 hours on that. And I thought,
Wow.
no, 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 that's crazy. That is crazy because it does take you away from other things that you need to do. And as a
Mhm.
student, setting yourself up for success, you've got to really balance that digital
Yeah.
gadget. Technology is great, but it's also it can create a problem for you where
Yes.
your schoolwork suffers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not because AI is there to tap into getting information. What about you literally doing the research yourself?
Yeah.
This is where you're going to be using your own brain power because you've got it. You've got that. That's a gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're becoming we've become such a lazy society because of all these little gadgets that we have at our fingertips. We don't
Yeah.
want to do the math. We don't want to read anymore. We don't want to do anything. And then having this AI, it's a plus, but we also need to be focused. And it will
Yeah.
AI is there, social media is there. It will steal your time.
Yeah.
Before you know it, it's like, oh my gosh, I started this at 10 o'clock. I'm still on this gadget. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You need to be up by 7:30.
Yeah.
You're used to getting your 10 hours sleep or whatever it is because you cannot focus as a young person, right? No, you
100%.
got to balance it out because we need to make sure that we are focusing on the goal. What is the goal? To be successful. To be
Yeah.
successful in wherever you are, whether it's university, college, high school, public school. You need to focus on you. Why are you here? Ask yourself that question. Why am I here? What is it that I want to do? Because
Yeah.
I can tell you, in most time we're watching other people's stories too, and those people are
Yeah,
quite
listen,
comfy. Oh,
I mean, I'm not really good on social media. I scroll once and I'm bored. I'm like, I'm off to
hmm
something else. Like
yeah,
it passed me over. But,
yeah,
some parents, we have to parents remember that you too can be just as much role modeling the behavior that you don't want your
yeah,
children to have. So if you're on the phone
absolutely.
and you can like everybody's post under the sun, uh, then you might want, just to your point, Faith, you might take a minute and say, hey, you know
Yeah,
what, I'm on this too long. And if my kids are only seeing me on it, day after day in and day out, they wake up in the phones in your hand, they come home from school, the phone's in your hand, you pick them up and you guys are in the car and you're checking your phone and they're on the phone, it all becomes something. So parents, just one for you, what you want your child to do, you must role model, right? So make
absolutely.
sure those digital distractions, are
Yes,
on are taken.
right.
Okay, let's jump into the
Uh-huh.
next one.
Yes.
Time management. So we talked about time and balancing and making sure, but sitting down with your child or youth and create a schedule, something that helps them too, now not just for themselves but the whole family. You'd be surprised. I sit down with my kids, my husband and I, we sit down with the kids every so often, especially in the beginning of when they were younger, and we would set the mark. We would say, okay, how much time to watch TV, how much time to play on video games, and how much time they're allowed to go outside after, especially if it's still nice outside. We let them go to the park or something after school. So you really want to create a schedule as to when. They knew Sundays by 5 o'clock, all tech off.
Mm-hmm.
They had to get upstairs, get themselves ready, get their clothes set, finish off whatever little homework they had. But they got into a habit. I loved it because I used to say, well,
Yeah.
if you work hard, you play hard. So come Friday, they would dedicate the whole evening to doing all their homework so they could play hard Saturday and Sunday.
Absolutely.
It's quite interesting. And
Yes.
they figured that out themselves. They said, Mom, if we finish our homework on Friday, do we have to do it? They said, no, we ain't got nothing to do on the weekends. It's all yours, right? So definitely want
And
to do
that's
that.
critical. You start them out early in reference to preparing them for success with the time management, which we said, how critical it is. Because if they're not balanced, they're gonna fall off.
Yeah.
And there
I,
has there
and
has to be
yeah,
consistency.
yeah,
Consistency is also the key in that piece of whether it's time management, whether it's the technology. Consistency. 2 hours. That's it.
yeah.
Homework. As I
Yeah.
get home, have a snack, whatever it is. Hit the homework. Get it
Yeah.
out of the
And
way.
checking their homework, right?
Yes.
Checking,
Yes.
because sometimes parents leave it too much to the teachers
Yes.
to
Get
check all this
involved.
information and make sure. And then your kid comes home with a C, or they're coming home with needs
Mhm.
improvement or satisfactory. And
Exactly.
then the war starts, right? Oh, well,
Yes.
why didn't you tell me? And da, da, da. But it's important that we put a pulse. What are our check-in schedules as parents? When are you saying, let's sit down and let me look at all your books and let me see. I mean, my son's handwriting was atrocious. Atrocious. I couldn't even read the writing. I'm like, how do you even get marked for this? Like, I can't even
Yes.
read it. So I
Okay.
inserted into a schedule practice writing. I wrote and I said, you got to
Yes.
write like mom, just like my mom did for me, right? Like I wrote in
Yes.
hieroglyphics. So bringing it back to that, I did it for my child, and that helped a lot because the teacher
Mhm.
said, wow, could finally understand what he's saying. So,
Yes.
right, and having those
And it's
conversations.
important. It is important. It is
Yeah.
important to build a relationship with the teacher as well. So if there's help that's needed, check in with them. How's my son or my daughter doing? Is there anything
Yes.
I can
And
assist
not just
with?
like parent teacher.
You
I mean,
know,
they're
it's,
doing new systems now with
yes,
the emails. Well, for here,
yes.
and I know
And the
in
telephone, right?
they're sending out, yes, and they're sending out
Yes.
now high. Well, this is for the school boards where I am, so I don't know if that's everywhere in Canada, but they would send an email that says, "Hi, I am your son's teacher, and this is what we're learning in the curriculum this year."
Yes.
And then, so at least I have an idea of what they're learning and when they're
Yes.
learning it, right? So I can tap in,
Absolutely.
and that helped
Mhm.
because when my elder son required that assistance, he was
Mhm.
able to reach out to,
Yes.
his godmother and say, "Hey, I need assistance with this topic."
Yeah.
And he was struggling and ended up
Mhm.
leaving that class in the 90s.
Right.
So don't underestimate, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure,
Cure.
right? So if you
And we
find your
didn't
kid
have
doing their
those. We
homework,
didn't
it's
have
most
those.
likely because they don't know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Not
They
because
just
they're
need
being
that extra.
lazy. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, good stuff. Last point for success. We already covered two. We covered technology and digital distractions, and we covered time management. The last one is organizations. Now, let's be real. Moms and dads out there, are you organized? Let's have a moment of honesty with oneself. Are you organized, right? Or is your child showing up to school late every day? Are they showing up without the proper tools? Are they showing up half asleep? Organization is one of the key structures. I say it in business all the time. If you
Mm,
lack organization, you don't want to get paid, right?
right.
So you want to help your child to set up some organizational skills. Again, daily planners. These are little things that people think that you do when you get older, but introduce these
Mhm.
tools to them very young,
Yeah.
right? A planner they like, colors, whatever, and it let them write their name and whatnot, and then really start to track their assignments. I don't care if it's their spelling test for cat, dog, and mouse. It needs to be as early as possible where you're teaching your children how to organize, getting themselves ready the day before school, right? Pulling out their
Mhm.
hanging on a hanger. I have to say, my mom was a real organizational person. When I kind of think back of all the things that I'm saying, and I'm like, that's what we used to do that.
And
Like my
they
mom
did
was,
it differently too. Remember,
they
today
did.
we have a lot at our fingertips. I mean, today the
Yep.
kids have a planner. The first
Yes.
day they go to school, they're coming home with a planner.
See it.
So
A
parents
full
just need
plan.
to take, like here in Canada, and I know it's happening across Canada.
Yes.
They have a calendar, they have their planner. So it's there
Yes.
with what activities are due, when, so forth. So parents just need to just take time out, read it, see what's going on. Teachers will put little notes in there. and say, hey,
Yes.
yeah, so you've got to start looking, you got to start seeing, you got to see how we can help this child to be successful. Having those
Yes.
dialogues is important. Being organized is critical because they emulate
Yes.
you. Your child will emulate you once they see your mommy's organized. Wow. And mommy and daddy has to also be consistent, teaching you how to be organized. They might do your laundry. They can show you how to fold your socks, your underwear, put them in your drawers. That's a starting
Yep.
way
That's
in which
it.
you're
Because in the morning
teaching
when you
them.
wake up and you can't find them socks, like it's always
Exactly.
those little things that stop the train.
Yes, that's
You're like,
it.
let's go, but I can't find my
There you
sock.
go. Where's my
You're like,
socks?
yeah, I'm gonna wrap
Yes,
this sock around your
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. No,
All
it's
right.
definitely important. Always remember that.
That's it.
Organization is key, and
Key.
make sure you're regularly checking in and
Yes.
reinforcing the skills. And the last that we're going to start with our wrap up is celebrate the wins and
Yes,
do not
we have to.
highlight, overemphasize the failures, right?
No.
So sometimes we tend to say you're always late, but celebrate the time
Hmm.
when they are, if they finished their homework on time, or if
Exactly.
they gotten a nice, even listen, even if it's a pass, let's be real, ain't nobody checking
Hmm.
on you when you're going for a job to see how much you made in your math quiz test, right? So let's
Absolutely.
encourage them through little steps of celebration.
Yes. Yes.
That extra
It's
10
our
minutes of prayer.
responsibility. It's our
Yes, and
responsibility. We
it,
have that. We have that
mhm,
role to play. We are the first point of contact for them. So let's build
yes,
that relationship where they can feel secure, trust. They
that's
can
it.
come to you, they can talk with you, and you too sometimes have to get down to their level as parents.
As
But
always,
sometimes we don't get
always,
to their levels like, how do I do this? Befriend your
wow,
kids,
that's
right?
it.
We're not saying that they are your best friend because your partner is usually your best friend or your children, but have
Yeah,
that relationship with them to know what's going on, what are their needs, how can we improve? Education is key, but we need
hmm,
to start with them and also take it into, pardon me, into the classroom with that teacher.
yes.
And
And
it's
it's education is key. I like how you said that. But
mhm,
the relationship to progress is foundational, right? If we can teach our
foundational.
kids that progression, as I
Yeah,
say, there's drive, resilience, innovation, and progression. Level up
yeah.
your drip, right? That level of
Level up.
progression, yeah, it helps because they find ways to be better,
Hmm.
and we want
Yes.
to encourage them to do that. Holy, it's already almost an hour. If
Yes.
you're just joining us, you
Yes.
are
Where are
rocking.
we? Where are we today? You're
We
watching
are at the
the
Afro
program.
Love Bay, honey. Do you know? See my
Yes.
screen? Love
Of
Bay.
Bay.
Love
Community
Bay.
conversation
That's it,
with
right
your
here on
host.
Love Bay Afrobeats Music Talk Radio. We're going to be here every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. talking to you about things that are impacting our local and global communities. Why?
Yes.
Because Love Bay is worldwide, honey. So we are excited to be part of this team. Myself, Miss J, I'm founder and CEO of Boss Women Society, a drip strategist where I help women and men, but more primarily women, to strengthen who they are to build empires. And Faith Greaves, introduce
Yes.
yourself.
Yes, I am a community advocate. Oh my goodness, entrepreneur, always there helping where the need is great.
That's
Working with
it.
both women, children, youth, seniors, family, even our asylum seekers. We are there. We're there to support, we're there to encourage, we're there to uplift. And this is why we're part of this community conversation live on Love Bay
The
Afro.
number one African Caribbean diaspora online
Yes,
radio. Hey, I
yes,
mean, when we rock with the best. It's
yes.
what we do,
That's it.
right? And when we
Every
pull it all
Sunday.
together, we all put in the work. We are here today. This is a cumulative
Absolutely.
amount of people to help put this show together, and we're going
Yes.
to continue to deliver as we should. Why? Because we're
Yes.
the number one in talk radio.
Yes.
So we are a few minutes out. We still want to talk a little bit, but before we lapse off, we said we were going to talk to you about what's new in education. So I'm going
Yes.
to go
We
over
could
to
tip on
Miss
it. We could
Reeves.
just, yes,
We're
we
going to
could
touch on
just
it for a
touch
little
on
bit,
it.
a few key
Touch on
things.
it a little bit because, yes, I mean, education with this kids going back to school, that's a priority, setting them up for success, is key. So we had to go through that. So, yes, what's new here in Ontario? Well, I'll give you a little scenario, which is fantastic. In February of this year, when we celebrated Black History Month, the announcement came out. Big announcement that starting in September 2025, Black history will be taught in all the high schools across Toronto or Ontario, starting from grade 7, 8, 9, and 10, which is a great, great, great,
Yes.
great need. Our history is so important. It's been buried. No one is sharing it. And now we have the opportunity to be a part of that history. We have contributed to this community, this country, and our leaders, our great pioneers, were never accounted for in the manner in which they should. So
Mhm.
it was announced by the Office of at the time, it was just a moment. My brain is full with information. Dawn Gallagher Murphy. So she's
Mhm.
the MPP for the Newmarket Aurora area. They made that announcement back in February of this year. So that curriculum will start next year, September 2025. I'm so excited. I'm so excited because it is something that our community has been fighting for. I can
Wow.
remember our
Yeah,
pioneers.
that's cool. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Miss Sadler, Jean Augustine. You know, they made a lot of things possible. Black History Celebration, of course, started with Jean Augustine when she was in Parliament, and that was a great fight that was finally finalized. So where we're at today, we are growing. We're coming on strong. Our kids need to know their history
They do.
because I think knowing their history, they'll know where they're going.
From
They have
whence they came to where they're going. Yeah.
exactly, they need to know where they're coming from. They need to know the great pioneers who made it possible for them to be where they are today. Because sometimes when you don't know your history, you have no idea. You're just here. Who cares? Our history is important. So I'm excited.
10-second dance party.
Yes, I'm excited about this. This is beautiful. We can talk more
100%.
about it next week and
Yes,
some
we
other great
can. Keep
announcements
it
as well.
posted. We're going to
Yes,
be following a lot of things next
yes,
week. We are delving into grants. Now, this is more for those
yes,
who are out there in the world of funding. We know
yes.
there's lots happening right now. Great announcement
Mhm.
that came out from the MP that we're going to share with you next
Yes,
week. We're going to talk a little bit
yes,
more. Most have heard it, but if you haven't heard it, it's good to hear because there are big strides happening in our African Caribbean
yes,
communities when it comes to securing. But there's also the dark side of grants. And that's where people are getting the money but are not allocating it properly. And so we're going to be
yes,
really digging into the positive and the negative, and you're going
yes,
to definitely be aware because so if you know any not-for-profit organization, community group, grassroots organization, even for business, profits for business, log in, spread the word, let them know that
mhm,
we're going to be talking about
yes,
grants, the world of funding next week. So we
yes.
have one last announcement, which I'm excited to say. I'm sitting here with none other than Faith Greaves. Not only is she a community advocate and entrepreneur, but she has also been selected as one of the 100 top accomplished Black Canadians. And she will be receiving an award this Friday at the event 100 Accomplished Black Canadians who are women who are doing it. So if we can just get some snaps for our girl,
Oh,
he's gonna say, "You go, girl!" Super proud.
thank
Let's
you.
take a minute just to share, if you would like to share a little bit, and then and then we'll bring the award.
Yes,
We're just gonna bring you
actually,
the award.
actually, the award show, the award events or the gala is on September 28th, which is a Saturday. And so I am excited about it. I was selected as one of 100. So there's 100 women who will be acknowledged this day. And we're busy in communities. So my background is basically working in communities as an advocate. Oh my gosh. I always hate speaking about me. So I'll make it quick. Advocating for our community, what the needs are, advocating for outside of our community. I have a nonprofit organization, Messiah's Women's Network Society, that support women, children, youth, seniors, and families through life and social skills, art, culture, sports, education. So we work with women. I also have a food bank that I support over 600 families weekly with groceries on Saturdays and on Thursday. Thursdays are our biggest day because we have about 13 other partners as well. We
Mhm.
are involved with the asylum seekers, the refugees, so we are busy with them providing resources, providing education, providing connection, referrals, referring them to whatever they need, whatever service they need. I know I'm missing out a lot more, but this is what I
That's okay.
do.
We only have an hour, so you have to
Yes.
just put it down.
So we're wrapping it up, but I'm a
Yeah.
very busy person within the community. I care because if we don't care about our community, who do we expect to care about our community?
That's why this show put together by the founders of Love Bay, is very appreciated, and
Absolutely.
so we want you to help. We help each other. It's not about just supporting us and
Hmm.
listening to us jab for an hour, but we're really looking to see how we can impact. So if you have something special happening, any announcements, please send them forward. Let us
Yes.
make it. But we want to put
Yes.
it right here. We're using this as a platform to not
Yes.
just educate, but to elevate and to
Yes.
make us, and like I say in my society, together we fly, and that's essentially what we do here at
Absolutely.
Community Conversations. We bring our
Yes.
expertise. I'll talk a little bit more about mine when we get to things that are more in my wheelhouse, which is business and finance, and
Hmm.
just sharing a lot of great stories about people who are making change. All right, so we want to say thank you so much for joining us in our
Thank
first.
you.
So we have lots coming, a lot more segments, lots more interesting. And remember, we are here because community conversations impacts change. So whatever is happening in your local or global communities, please feel free. As you can see, I think it was info or Love Bay.
Info,
Just came back
info
with me.
at Love Bay.
Info lovebay at gmail.com. Sorry, I was
Yes,
mixing it. There it is.
it
Info
is.
lovebay at gmail.com. Oh, I'm getting better.
Gmail.com.
They keep throwing us tongue
Telephone
twisters.
number. Let's give
Dang
out the
it, we're
telephone
gonna get
number.
it.
Four
And the
three four
telephone.
three seven
Send
seven
us
seven eight 3299.
information. 99. Send us,
Yes.
send us, send us, send us
Yes.
information. And as
Yes.
always, please remember, in every conversation, it's a chance for communication and change. My name's Miss J, your hostess with the mostest here on Community Conversations and Faith
Faith Grave, our
right here.
advocate, community specialist here,
And
caring
my
about you.
co-host. I'm gonna put
Amen.
all my acronyms on the screen next time.
Yeah, I'm going to change it over. Yes. 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 It's been
But
great.
it has.
We
So
wanted to
until
see
then,
you. Yes. We'll see you
we
next
love
week.
seeing you.
Same
We
time,
wish
same
you an
place.
amazing week. And next week, 5 p.m. right here on Afrobeat,
Yes.
Love Bay Afrobeats Music
Affirmation.
Talk Radio. We'll see you here on Community
Yes.
Conversations. Have a good
Amen.
one.
Thank you.